The ship had been dead for 43 years. Everyone knew that. It hung above the desert moon of Keros like a fossil suspended in space, vast, black, and silent. No running lights. No energy signature. No response to hails. Just a scar across its hull where something catastrophic had torn through it long before I was born. The locals called it the Queen's Coffin. Officially, it was designated Imperial Vessel Aurelian, last flagship of the Aurelian stellar throne. Its failure marked the collapse of an empire that once ruled a third of the spiral arm. And now it was my job to fix it. I stared at the ship through the viewport of my battered service shuttle, chewing on the inside of my cheek as the docking clamps engaged with a hollow thunk. Docking complete, the shuttle's AI said flatly. Pressure seal holding. Probability of catastrophic hull failure, 28%. Comforting, I muttered. My name is Cal Wren, Independent Systems Engineer, licensed for deep space salvage, experimental tech, and projects of questionable survivability, according to my last employer. I wasn't supposed to be here. People like me didn't get contracts involving royal artifacts, or legendary warships, or fallen queens whose names still made entire planets go quiet. But desperation has a way of opening doors. I needed the money. The Aurelian remnant needed a miracle. And the Queen, if she was even still alive, needed her ship. I powered down the shuttle's engines and grabbed my tool pack. The airlock cycle took longer than usual, metal groaning like it resented being disturbed after decades of silence. When the inner hatch finally opened, stale air spilled out, cold and metallic, carrying the faint scent of ozone and something older, burnt circuitry mixed with dust that had never known gravity. I stepped inside. My boots echoed. The corridor lights flickered weakly as my suit fed power into the ship's grid. Ancient panels came alive in staggered waves, revealing architecture that was equal parts elegant and brutal, curved walls etched with gold circuitry, reinforced ribs of dark alloy, and symbols of a sunburst crowned by a blade. Imperial Aurelian design, built to last forever, and yet broken. Okay, I whispered. Let's see what killed you. The official records said the Aurelian had suffered a cascading core failure during the last days of the Civil War. But that explanation never sat right with engineers. Ships this advanced didn't just fail. They were sabotaged, or betrayed, or abandoned. As I moved deeper into the ship, my instruments went wild. Residual energy readings spiked and dipped unpredictably, like the vessel was breathing in its sleep. That made my skin crawl. The bridge doors were sealed, fused shut by heat and force. I rerouted power manually, bypassing 3 dead relays and one system that tried to electrocute me before finally giving up. The doors slid open, and there she was, the Queen. She stood at the center of the bridge, perfectly still, bathed in the dim glow of emergency lighting. Tall, regal, wrapped in layered robes of dark crimson and gold that hadn't faded with time. Her skin was pale, unmarred by age. Her eyes, closed, were marked with faint lines of luminescent circuitry that pulsed softly. She wasn't dead. She wasn't alive, either. She was waiting. I froze. Every instinct screamed at me to back away slowly and pretend I'd never seen this. But curiosity and something deeper, heavier, rooted me in place. "Your Majesty?" I said, feeling ridiculous. No response. I scanned her with my wrist console. Readings flooded in, incomprehensible at first, then horrifyingly clear. Stasis field. Neural suspension. Consciousness locked in a quantum loop tied directly to the ship's core. She wasn't just aboard the Aurelian. She was part of it. "That's not standard," I breathed. A soft chime echoed through the bridge. The ship spoke. Authorized presence detected. A voice intoned, ancient and resonant. Engineer class. Biological status. Unclaimed. Unclaimed? Before I could ask what that meant, the lights brightened. Systems hummed. Power surged through conduits that hadn't felt energy in decades. And the Queen's eyes opened. They were gold. Not metaphorically. Literally gold, swirling with data and emotion and something terrifyingly aware. She looked straight at me. For a long moment, neither of us moved. Then she spoke. "You are not one of mine." Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried authority that pressed against my chest like gravity. "No, ma'am," I said carefully. "Just the mechanic." She studied me, gaze sharp enough to peel layers off my soul. "The others failed," she said. "They always do." "I tend to specialize in that," I replied before I could stop myself. To my shock, the corner of her mouth twitched. 43 years, she said. 43 years I have waited in silence while scavengers circled my corpse. I swallowed. "I'm guessing you want the ship running." "Yes." "And you?" Her gaze didn't waver. "I am the ship." That was the moment I realized this job was never about repairs. It was about resurrection. Somewhere deep within the Aurelian, the core stirred, responding not to my tools, but to my presence. The Queen stepped down from her dais. The floor lit beneath her feet. She extended her hand toward me. "Fix my vessel," she said, "and I will remake your fate." Against all reason, all training, all survival instincts, I took her hand, and the dead ship woke up.